Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a super interesting story time. If you are new here, I am the Legit Creep and I am a professional body piercer. But today's video is going to be a client story. If you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and let's get into the video. This is a story. Oh my god. If you saw my last video, spoke a lot about how parents can be absolute bastards when it comes to their kids getting pierced. If you saw the title, yes, you'll see that it is about someone who tried to sue me because I pierced their kid who was of age to get a piercing all on their own. Yeah, you're a psychopath. Where do I even begin with this tale of the century, sale of the century? As a piercing studio, you have to have a consent form that the client signs before they go in to get the piercing. Like, you can't just rock up, pay, go in. Because of the type of procedure that a piercing is, it isn't that simple. You're making a permanent change to your body, so obviously it comes with risks and regrets in some cases, and it also comes with, you know, health and safety measures, blah 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 blah. All these things are what need to be covered in your consent form, and it's basically a legal document just so people can't sue you and so that everyone's doing the right thing, everyone's following the right procedures, all is well. Basically what happened, so this girl has obviously come in, shown her ID, read through the consent form, signed for it, dated it, everything is filled out properly. She's done the right thing, we've done the right thing. We haven't let an underage person come in and do this. Every person you take in, you check through their consent form. Some people I will even double check the ID and I'm still like, no. Don't believe you. You're a liar. You're 12 years old. But this wasn't the case in this particular situation. So anyway, she got her disgusting tongue pierced and clearly mummy not so happy. Like a few days later and I'm doing a piercing and then like I'm hearing like knocking and stuff on the door and I'm like, can you off? Like, what are you doing? Like, it's so rude. Like, whatever is going on out there, it can be dealt with by the people out there, or you can wait your turn. Just like all the other people I actually have lined up for appointments next, you don't even have an appointment and you're smashing on the door because someone is throwing a tantrum. I'm already on edge because someone's going to want to have an argument, as they always bloody do. I think sometimes like people who are customers and clients, it's just like they need to have a fight with someone, and guess who they're gonna fight with today, and it's gonna be you. This woman legit like goes for the door and she's like trying to open the door and stuff, and I'm like, I'm with someone and you know, I'm gloved up. You can't touch other things, so it's not like I'm gonna go out there and be like, hi, like, it's just like not the time and place. Something that I've learned from this industry, and also like just customer service industries in general as well, is that it's actually like the middle-aged people who are the rudest of all. They expect you to be rude, so then they're just automatically rude to you, but it's like, excuse, you're the biggest prick of all. This woman, just like, I've literally just let a client out and she's already screaming in my face. It's already like not okay, because it's like, you've done this in front of someone who I've just pierced. I did nothing wrong to your child either, yet you're like making our whole studio look like a joke and also making me, the piercer, look like a joke. I know what I'm doing and I can do it well, and it's like, it's just so irritating to have someone yelling in your face. They don't know you. Like, you actually know nothing about piercings to even be able to make these judgments, let alone just try and make a mockery of me in front of like my whole like clientele and everything. So she's like screaming at me. She's like, you're a disgrace. What you've done is so illegal. You've ruined my daughter's body, my underage daughter. And she kept using like underage, like as if I was some kind of like or something, like, she is underage and you have done this to her. You could tell she was trying to intimidate me by like continuing using this like underage thing. And by underage, she was saying she was under 18. In Australia anyway, you're allowed to get most piercings at 16. If you can show your ID and prove that you are 16, you can get a piercing at 16. Obviously, like genital piercings and cheek piercings are off limits, but like majority piercings you can. A tongue, fine. Like she wanted to intimidate me almost to be like, you're gonna go to jail for like mutilating an underage kid's body and even looking at an underage kid's body. You disgusting, disgusting woman. I even remembered this girl because I remember her being a little brat. Wonder where you learnt those traits from. You got a absolutely stunning family right there. But yeah, the kid was just a little prick, just to pierce. Like that age group can be so irritating because they're just so snarky and like they think they're so smart with their little comments and stuff like that. You're just looking at them like, you're a joke, you're going nowhere in life. Continue acting like this and we'll see what happens in the future. Just think of like the type of kids who would go around shoplifting and like acting like it's like the sickest move. That's just like the type of girl she was. And she was with her little friends and they're all giggling and just like being the most irritating little pieces of poo crumb that I've ever encountered. I mean, you encounter them all the time. I've dealt with it. I get it. Meanwhile, this woman is just going off like she's not listening to anything I'm saying. I'm like, we've cited her ID. She has read a consent form. She has signed for herself. I can even go and get it for you. We are not liable for this at all. Yet this woman's like, she's going off. She's not believing it at all. And she's going into like, I am a lawyer and I am going to take you to court. I'm going to sue you. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, you are the dumbest lawyer that has ever walked planet Earth if you think you can sue me over this. I'm working for a company that has rules in place that I've followed every single rule. The company has followed every single rule. And also your child has followed every single rule so that everyone is covered and everyone is safe and everyone has done the right thing. Let alone the fact that your child has signed the legal form on their own with the right to do so. Meanwhile, this little toad of a just jump in the damn swamp, in the gross mossy swamp. The kid of age was sitting there like smug and smirking and like laughing, and it's almost like she had lied to, like she's obviously lied to her mother. So she's obviously lied to her mother and she said like, God knows what, but like something along the lines of the fact that it is our fault and that like she obviously got scared like a little pussy. Obviously she couldn't like face up to her mother and be like, bitch, I got my tongue pierced. What you gonna do, ho? And she couldn't do that. And so now it is my problem and it is my fault. If you're gonna get your tongue pierced, your parents are gonna see it. Try as hard as you want to keep that shit hidden, but they're going to see it. Just face up to it. What are you so afraid of? Face it. Be a man. Take it on. Take your mother head on. Take her head on, because that's what I want to do right now. So anyway, she's like lied, said like, they forced me into it. That's not what she would have said, but like, does the mother seriously believe that she has been forced into doing this? Like what, why? Look, think about it logically, woman. Why is it our fault? One, did we force your daughter to show us her ID? Show me your damn ID. I need to see your ID because all I want to do in this life is pierce your gross tongue. No. If there is a day when I do not have to pierce a tongue, I'm praising the sweet baby Jesus that does not exist, because no one wants to pierce a tongue. Tongues are gross and they're not fun to pierce. Like you have to get all up in their grill. Like there's drool, there's saliva, there's breath, there's just like, no one wants to pierce a tongue, woman. And of all the goddamn people in this world that I could choose to pierce their tongue, your daughter, who is a nobody, I do not want to pierce her tongue. I do not want to look her, I do not, with these eyes, I do not want her to be in my vision. Like, just like seeing your daughter and your face, your daughter, your face, the fact that you are genetically like related, it makes me vomit. Like your faces are the worst things I could ever come across. Why would I want that face in front of me, ready to see that gross, salivary, disgusting tongue? I don't want to see any of it, yet for some reason you are so self-absorbed that you think I want to look at your family? No! No, I do not want to see them. Yuck. You go back in the swamp and swim around in your toad infested waters, you big toad. So anyway, mother thinks I have forced her toad to show me her ID, then read through a legal consent form. Then I forced her to pick up the pen and fill in all her details, sign the bottom of the form. Toads lack dexterity, so there's no way in hell. Date it. Wouldn't even think she would know the date because she's that goddamn toad-like, and toads, I don't think they have that great brain. Like, when you think about it, how can a toad do this? She's done all of that, giving us the right to pierce her. I've forced her to do all of this. That's obviously what happened. Next, I have pinned the toad down, and then which doesn't even work for a tongue piercing. Like, you can't lay down for a tongue piercing. I've pinned the toad down, so it's not gonna work. She's gotta rinse her mouth out. I've forced her to do that. I've managed to get her to stick her tongue out of her mouth and hold it out of her mouth for like quite a few minutes. I've clamped it. I've done all of these things while she's been forced to do this. And then I've pushed a needle through her tongue. Something tells me that a toad wouldn't allow me to do all of that stuff. If anything, I should be the world's most famous piercer for being able to get a toad to do all of these things. But no, after all of this, somehow the mother still thinks it's my fault that I have pierced her daughter because I'm just so obsessed with piercing. Like, any person I see, I've got to grab them, I've got to kidnap them, and I have to pierce them. It's not like people willingly come in and pay, and I could pierce a million more tongues if I really, really, really wanted to. But somehow it's all my fault. And I am the reason that your daughter has a tongue piercing. Well, yes, obviously I am the reason your daughter has a tongue piercing. But the specific reason that your daughter has a tongue piercing is because she chose to get her little group of tadpoles together and head for the piercing studio and ask for a tongue piercing and sign up, They've done all of that because she wanted to do it. And in the meantime of all of this, the mother's screaming at me. The amount of time she said she's taking me to court, she's suing me, is just like a broken record. She told me like 100 times. Still haven't been sued. This happened like 2 years ago. Little Toadie is sitting there like smirking and grinning and thinks it's so funny because she's gotten away with it. Like, I am such a little narcissist that I will sit there and happily let someone be screamed at for something that was completely my doing. Like, what type of person are you going to be in this life if that's your motive at like such a young age? Like, I feel like you're just going to be an evil person. So like, it just continues on. The girl's sitting there, and then like the mum's pretty much just screaming at me like, take it out, take it out. I'm like, all right, chill woman, I can take it out. It isn't like permanently stuck in her tongue forever. But I was like, you know what? Thank you for letting me take it out, because this is going to be fun. And it is going to be a lot of fun for the little girl who sat there and laughed at me. Your poor little daughter who's gone through hell is now going to have to go through actual hell when I take that jewelry out of her swollen, painful tongue. I was like so pissed at this point, and the mum's like just still screaming. Like, she never stopped screaming. Do not know how someone can continue speaking for that long in one go, but she has never stopped screaming. And I like look at the kid, the toad, I apologize, and I say, get it out. Like, she's like, oh, and because it's so swollen, it's obviously sore. She's like, oh, and I'm like, further. No, but I was pretty brutal about it. And then I just like literally like yanked on that bar. And this, I know this sounds so unprofessional, but soz. Sometimes piercers do this, and there's no denying that they don't do it. When you're being treated like absolute trash, you've got to like build some kind of joy back into your life. And like, just really took my time in getting that off, because I knew the longer it took, like I could have gotten it off so quickly, but the longer that it took for me to get off, the more uncomfortable that girl would have been. And then I like took the bar out, and I'm like to mum, I'm like, do you want this? And I'm like to see if she wanted to take the bar home, because maybe like after this whole situation, she actually like grew an appreciation for tongue piercings and she really wanted one. She just like looked at me with the eyes of the devil. Again, I'm a lawyer and this is illegal. I'm going to take you to court for this. I'm suing you, rah, rah, rah. And by the end, I was like, please take me to court. Please sue me. I want you to do all of this because you have no leg to stand on. I got the paperwork. I looked through everything. I checked it all and everything was fine. She was of age. I said to the mum, I was like, how old is she? And she lied straight to my face and she said, she's 15 years old, because I think she must have known the like limit. I turned to the girl and I said, how old are you? And she like looked at her mum and her mum like, I don't know, did some sort of face. She's like, I'm 15. And I'm like, okay, so then why does your form say that you're 16? And why have you shown us ID that is 16? And then the girl sort of like cowered. She's like, I think she got a bit scared and she was like, oh, I am 16. And then the mum just like had, she had nothing. Like she literally had nothing to stand on. It's all well and good for you to say you're going to take me to in court and you're going to sue me for all these things, yet you're literally lying about the age to my face. Both of you are lying, and a form with government ID says something completely different. Yet in the end, she like left screaming, continuing blabbering on about the lawyer and all this sort of stuff. People will get mad and they'll come into piercers and it's like they treat us as if we are stupid and it's like, all you know is piercing, you know nothing else. So yeah, moral of the story is don't be a dick. Like, you're obviously just pissed off because your kid did something you didn't want them to do, and you've got to take it out on someone because the kid is literally smirking and laughing at you. In the end, it's your parenting. Like clearly you can't control your child. If your child had done the right thing and maybe asked you or like told you that they were getting their tongue piercing, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. But instead you've got to find someone to take your anger out on, and it's absolutely so wrong that people think it's okay to do it to people in like service. It's just, it's not cool, and we're human beings too. Especially over this Christmas period, just please be kind to workers. In the end, I hope your swamp dries up and that you've no food to eat and that you have to get a proper law education, because right now it's very clear that you do not have one. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this story time, please let me know. I have 1 billion of them because people are psychopaths. All right, see you guys.